The BRICS group of emerging economic powers. The alliance was initially formed in 2006 by Russia, China, India and Brazil and was joined 4 years later by South Africa. Representing 40% of the world's population and a quarter of global economy, the member nations have gone on a quest for a multipolar world order in which no single power dominates. Let's take a look at BRICS, its missions and how it's going in a nutshell. Over the past years, BRICS has been challenging some of the key elements of the United States unilateralism. More recently, the members have been mulling over expansion, something that would contribute to its efforts to emerge as a counterweight to Western coalitions such as G7. Actually, during this year's summit, the member nations took some effective steps toward that goal by taking in Iran and Saudi Arabia, two of the world's largest oil producers, along with some other states. The acronym was originally BRIC, the initial letters of the names of Brazil, Russia, India and China. It was coined in 2001 by a Goldman Sachs analyst who wrote a paper on emerging economies. Jim O'Neill said back then that the foursome had GDP growth that would exceed that of G7 countries. That notion really came to life in 2006, when the quartet formed an informal group of allies to contribute to the world economy and gain a greater role in the global market, which was then dominated by the US. In 2010, South Africa also joined, and the acronym became BRICS. The group has set as its goal reshaping the world's politico-economic landscape. To promote that agenda, it has set up different institutions such as Business Council, the Contingent Reserve Agreement which provides short-term liquidity support, and the New Development Bank which supports development projects in BRICS and is envisioned as an alternative to the Washington-based World Bank. For a long period of time, the G7, consisting of the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, Italy and Japan, used to hold sway over the global economy and its management. But the rise of BRICS and the rapid economic development of its nations are beginning to shatter that dominance. The 5 BRICS nations managed to surpass the G7 in terms of their combined GDP in 2020. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says the alliance will altogether account for 32.1% of global GDP in 2023, up from a mere 16.9% in 1995 and more than the G7's share of 29.9%. BRICS thus accounts for 41% of the world's population, over 32% of global gross domestic product and 16% of global trade. Observers believe the group's formidable standing on the world's economic stage gives it a lot of bargaining power if the member nations act together, something they appear to be doing increasingly. In the meantime, there's been growing interest in joining the bloc, which is already a major territorial and demographic bloc. At this year's summit, the BRICS members just widened the family. The bloc agreed during a meeting on Friday to admit Iran, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina and the United Arab Emirates. Iran, which also possesses the world's second largest gas reserves, had applied to join BRICS in June as part of its efforts to strengthen economic and political ties with non-Western aligned countries and neighbors, a central plank of President Ibrahim Raisi's foreign policy. As many as 40 states are said to be seeking accession to the group. If BRICS accepts such states as Cuba and Venezuela besides Iran, it will likely strengthen its anti-US positioning, especially at a time that it's been pushing ahead with a de-dollarization campaign to rid the US of its sanctions tool against other countries. There are, however, disagreements among member nations on how to expand the bloc and how to proceed. It now remains to be seen what course of action will be taken to fulfill the dream of a multipolar world with a diverse economy. This was a look at BRICS, its missions and how it's going in a nutshell.